What's up, guys? So, work-life balance has eked its way into this week as well. Last week wasn't enough to cover it. I reached out to you guys and I got a ton of comments back. One specifically beat the shit out of me. That's up next on the Top Free Podcast. All right, guys, so this week's episode is pretty special because we got some feedback about the work-life balance, and one of the comments in specific really kind of hit home with me because of the way I grew up and all that stuff. So I'm going to get right into it. I'm going to read this comment to you guys, and I'm going to give you my thoughts based on what this says. So this person comments about, this is the first time that they've heard me speak about happiness, and here's the direct quote. What if the guy who gets up at 7:30 and doesn't leave his house until 8, what if that guy is me? What if he can't leave his house at 5 a.m. because he has a sleeping baby at home and the daycares don't open till a certain time? What if that guy has to be back to the same daycare by 6 because they close and he'll get charged by the minute every minute he's late to pick her up? What if that guy is committed to his kid first before his job? Is that a choice? So that's really tough for me. First off, I'll say I have a lot of experience with single parenting. My father was a single parent for much of my childhood. And I think that single parents, first of all, have some of the most difficult challenges that any adult can face. I think parents in general have very difficult challenges. But on top of that, you've put yourself in a spot where you're alone. That's on steroids. That's times 100. My father was a single father, raised me by himself for much of my early childhood. And I know the things that he went through, the things he had to do, and the pride he had to swallow to complete that task. He had no help. Very little help for a long time. However, some of those situations were his choice. And before I go into the dialogue of saying that where you are is your decision and blah, 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 I really want to help people understand that work-life balance, happiness, accountability are all intertwined. It's very difficult to segregate these subjects, and I fear that that's what I've done in the past 3 episodes. The first episode, I talk about accountability, and then the other episode, I talk about happiness, and then I talk about work-life balance. And I don't give them their due justice. The intention of the podcast is to be short so that you can listen to this on your break, so that you can get on with your day and you don't spend 2 hours listening to me talk or ramble on. But if we're going to get into this subject and we're going to get deep about it, then I should give it its due justice. So first of all, in my opinion, in order to have a proper work-life balance, you need some sort of happiness. And in order to have happiness, you need to be without resentment. And in order to be without resentment, you need to have accountability. That's the core of it all. That's the very basis of the work-life balance. Now, I got so many comments that came in and said, I work until my wife tells me that I need to take a day off. I work a 90 to 10 percentage. Families first, bro. What is work-life balance? Well, I said last week that I don't know. And I reached out to you guys to tell me. And that's the type of response that I got. So the real deal Holyfield here, my opinion, is that there is no true definition of work-life balance. My opinion is that your interpretation of what you're living right now is your work-life balance. It's life balance, as my buddy Mike likes to say. This balance is what you have done, the decisions that you've made to get to that point. That's why it starts with accountability. I have a lot of people tell me, oh, well, if I had my kids, or if I didn't have my kids, then I would be doing this. No, you wouldn't. There's thousands of parents who've abandoned their children to follow their dreams. A lot of people say, oh, I hate work. My answer is not enough, because you still go. There is millions of people in the world right now that do not work at all. And they haven't for years. Homeless. There are a lot of homeless people out there that do not have a job. So don't tell me that working is a necessary part of your life. It's a part of your life that you have chosen. Your children are decisions that you've made. And although it be very difficult decisions to look your children in the eye and drop them off at daycare, you still choose to drop them off at daycare. Although it's a difficult decision to swallow your pride when your boss tells you you're not doing the right thing, you still do it. It's a difficult decision, but yet it's still a decision. You have to be held accountable for your own actions and your own decisions. Once you become accountable for these things, you will find that the resentment dissipates. You're in the middle of a bad project. You took the project. Well, I needed the money. Why did you need the money? PlayStation 5, iPhone, new truck, brand new saw. Let's be honest. More of us than not are wanting things that we don't absolutely need. We've decided we've needed these things. So take some fucking accountability for it. And then you'll stop resenting the job that you're on, because you'll realize that you're on the job that you're on to get the things that you wanted. So you'll appreciate the project for giving you the things that you wanted. Once you realize that these are the things that you wanted, that you'll understand that you're giving yourself more happiness than you already are willing to admit. Why is it so difficult for us to admit that we're actually happy? Why is it so difficult for us to understand that we have put ourselves in the place that we are now, and therefore are doing the things that somewhere, some deep down inside, made us happy? Appreciate those things and move forward. Then you'll understand what makes you happy. Now, a big part of work-life balance is having a partner, or a lack of partners, in your life that have understood what you're about, and understood your goals, and understood what your work ethics are and what your work-life balance is. So being honest with those people is important, much like a man or a woman who is married or partnered up with someone in the military. They understand they'll be gone for months on end. Or a man or a woman who's with an athlete. They understand they travel a lot. But with those things that they lose, they gain and benefit other parts. And realizing that those other parts are making them happy enough to make that decision to be there is exactly what understanding your own happiness is. So a work-life balance is not labeled as a 60-40 split, a 30-30-30 split. Work-life balance is exactly what you're doing right now. And remember, please, 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 if you're targeting money as your overall goal in life, I'm just going to say something I learned this weekend. I thought it was very clever. I heard it on a video on TikTok. I know it sounds crazy, but listen to what I'm about to say. Rich people don't make more rich people. Rich people make poor people. Think about it. And on that note, it's time for me to get the fuck back to my family.
Oh, that's real good.